never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be.
Hey you guys, thank you for tuning in to a new video. As stated in the last side, I really don't want to do like a short video to like literally complete the two-parter covering shell companies. I would rather literally I was gonna skip over it, but then I was like, let me do like a tad bit of research and add like a bit of insight into it. As I mentioned in the end of the last video, shell companies are something that is kind of something that works in motion towards aspects such as like money laundering, if you've ever heard of that, and I explained it a decent bit in the last video, which literally ended up like cutting into most of my time for the end of it, in which I was going to explain a tad bit into shell companies, but it's kind of the umbrella portion that would, put money laundering within that like umbrella focus of it. So shell companies are legal entities or businesses that have no active operations or no significant assets. It's kind of just a company that is used for umbrella options, and it can be used for good or for bad. Now I'm at the 1 minute point, so I'm going to try to make this like 3 minutes, that way I can actually get into the topic for this video, because this one is going to be one that I think is probably going to take in maybe 2 to 3 parts. So if we can get this one in 3 minutes, maybe we can get the full thing done in like 2, but it's maybe 3. It's a bit extensive because there are 2 major focus points, so we'd have to literally be able to get through like each within each, and if this one cuts too far into the other time slot, it may run into 3. But good aspects of it, and this is kind of what creates that aspect of it falling within the parameters of being used for legal and legitimate purposes and illegal purposes, or should we say illegal activities. So it can be used as a company to help with managing assets, holding assets, protecting the privacy of business owners and subsidiary branches. As I stated, I own my own L.L.C, and we have subsidiary companies under the umbrella of it, which include my DKH Legal Aid branch, which covers the aspects of my notes for college students that I posted, special investigative services that I offer, legal insight and consultations. You can literally book me for a sit down, and you can also book meetings with my grandmother to become a licensed health life insurance provider. Or wait, is it, you know what, I think it's life. Oh gosh, you know what, I literally have to like do like an overview of it all over again and figure out what the heck it covers. So I know life is included, and I think health may be included also. Let's see, but in tandem with that, I literally linked a bunch of resources for people to go through, gain some insight about us, check out our behind the scenes life, and to also contact us. You can reach out to us, you can send us questions. I've had people send over questions requesting information. I've had people contact me and request info, request videos where I provide information covering topics and so many other aspects. So you guys can always go check out that one of our subsidiary branches, DKH Legal Aid. We also have DKH Dollar Shop, which was a project that I started in itself, like in 2024 when I launched our first subsidiary branch, which was the DKH Swim project, to see how it would do overall. It was kind of more so as one where I put the funds into it, that way it would be something awesome to like literally offer to you guys, but it didn't do great, so I was like, I'm gonna scrap it. I may do another one, but if I do another one, I want to make it a lot more affordable. I want to make it cover an umbrella of a bunch of other products that you guys may want, and I want to also, as always, make sure that it's something that's trustworthy and that I have a team that's able to handle everything And that's been our new branch. You can literally go check out our website at any time. It's currently down at the moment, but if you're watching this in the future, it may be back up, so you guys can go check out the branch and see some of the cool new things on our website and the cool things included in our new subsidiary branch. And you can also go check out my Instagram. I've got like a video of a scroll through of it. It's one of our advertisement campaigns. We've also got the other ad sets that show you our products and stuff like that, so you guys can go check that out. But that would be the aspect of the kind of main company branch, and then the subsidiary companies that fall under the umbrella of the company. Shell companies can also be used in a legitimate and illegal way for illegal activities such as tax evasions, money laundering, and for covering up just a bunch of other illegal activities within a company, which a lot of times it's linked to money laundering due to the fact that the illegal activities funds are counted as taxable assets. And there are things such as, write-offs for items that have never been freaking sold by the companies. Let's see, fake receipts covering, exchanges of freaking goods or services that are mainly used to cover up the fact that illegal activity has taken place and that the money exchange has been handled. That way the money can be taken and then put within the system through bank accounts and payroll and stuff like that, and then it's kind of used as a payroll basis to pay employees that don't do the jobs that are actually on the books that fall within the parameters of illegal activities. But you guys, I don't want to go too deep into it because we're at the 6-minute mark and we were going for 3. I got to the 5-minute mark and I was like, maybe we'll be able to finish this. But I did want to make sure that we touch base on the major aspects of shell companies, and that I could also give you guys some relatable advice and insight from my umbrella to the overall shell umbrellas and the uses of shell companies. Alright, you guys, so for this video, as stated before, this is going to be our second bullet point. This one is going to be covering major companies closing, and our main focus is going to be on franchises. And I put the main focus on franchises due to the fact that a lot of our companies that we have throughout the nation, where there are major stores that have popped up everywhere, fall within the category of individual franchises that have been open. And then we'll touch base on major stores that are opened by actual main branches, and after explaining a tad bit, you'll definitely be able to get the notion as towards the main difference in it. But we'll definitely still do a tad bit of explaining such to clear up any uncertain points. Let's see, the expenses that it costs to everyday citizens, and as I told you, this is the fun notion that I wanted to save for this video in itself. We'll also compare a really cool aspect. So celebrities, public figures, artists, and people that have, ventured into doing these things that have a general decent set basis of wealth going into this that don't go into it, and this is going to touch a tad bit into the franchise aspect, but we're at the 8-minute mark, so it may be the perfect time to kind of bring you guys in on all the tie-in points, and then in the next video we'll touch base more on the aspects of it and try to conclude that one within 10 minutes. So it's, those who have more funds going into franchising have the expendable funds to not only open up a branch and to manage payroll, they're also able to handle any hiccups that may take place a lot better than typical franchise owners that are people that have these saved amount of funds or have taken out loans to open these businesses, and the set amount of loans have the surplus amount to cover functions, operations, business establishment, and so much more. But if any major hiccups take place, it typically ends with a bankruptcy filed on behalf of the franchisee owner, which doesn't really reflect on the overall company itself. But we'll get a tad more into that as we break down the aspects of franchises. So with so we've got 1 minute left. I'm going to conclude this one before I start talking and covering an entire freaking topic and then have to literally cut the conversation, I would say maybe at the early point-ish, due to our video time running out. But thanks for tuning in for part 1, and I'll see you for part 2 in just a bit. But since it'll be posted, go ahead and go check out part 2. Alright, hey guys, and thanks for tuning in for part 2. I am on my 3rd freaking attempt of trying to shoot this portion of the video. It has been glitching every freaking time. I was recording it on my iPhone, and then once I freaking got to like the end of the last video, it glitched out again and deleted the entire video. And while doing the first like video, I got like midway through, and then my doorbell rang, so I clicked the pause button, and then by the time I got back to my phone, the entire video is freaking gone. So I'm on my Samsung with any log. There won't be any glitches. You guys will be able to see this one. Alright, so I stated you guys are going to be touching base on major companies and franchises and the differences between both. So not saying that franchises aren't major companies, because in order to have people that are ready to freaking take part in the business and open their own franchise, it typically involves the basis of working with major companies. But the reference with major companies is the reference point from major companies that open their own branches throughout the world or throughout their nations in which they originate within, and franchises which fall under the umbrella of the parent companies, in which they are offering to others to open up their own branches, created with their own vision. So if you've ever gone to like a McDonald's and noticed that they're all uniform, or that a new McDonald's has popped up in your neighborhood and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, like McDonald's just opened a new McDonald's. It's like McDonald's didn't open a new McDonald's in your area of franchise, or purchased the land and then started building a new McDonald's in your area that fit the uniform vibe of McDonald's. So when you enter the McDonald's, you're like, oh my gosh, the McDonald's vibe. They literally like ace it every time, and it's part of the building plans for the actual McDonald's itself, and it's typically set to fit the generalized area, but aside from that, it's set to match the vibe of the typical McDonald's itself. So I'll do the break. So overall, the breakdown for our video, because I was going to go into the breakdown for major companies and the differences between franchises, but I want to bring you guys through what we'll be covering in this video. So we're going to be covering the differences between major companies and major companies that have the franchise option for people to buy within the business and become their own business owners that then open their own branches. We're going to also be covering the expenses to everyday citizens who are franchise owners versus those that have access to wealth that can typically withstand hardships that typically cause franchise owners to go through bankruptcies and major pitfalls. And we're going to touch base on aspects in which allow the people such as celebrities that have become franchise owners, artists that have become franchise owners, and those who have an excess amount of wealth that are able to withstand hiccups in comparison to everyday citizens who typically have to open up loans or use the generated wealth to start the franchise, cover the payroll, and then the expectancy is that the income retained will not only help to cover paying off loans, but also cover payments for the employees and help to keep the franchise itself within operation. And we'll also be touching base upon, well, let's see, I think those are going to be our major points, and then the other aspects I'll kind of like cover throughout. So I've stated major franchises, or oh my gosh, we're gonna do major companies first. Major companies typically open up their own branches. So when you see a McDonald's and you're like, McDonald's just opened a new McDonald's, but it's a franchise, will be the comparison point for major companies that open up new branches in major shopping areas, for like major stores that open up new stores in places such as New York that are like major capitals, like the fashion freaking capital of the US would be like New York City. You freaking pop up and there's like the entire shopping district. Manhattan is known for being that freaking amazing place where you go and grab like amazing freaking clothing. There's freaking socks, oh my gosh, Saks on Fifth Avenue, the mega freaking H&M store, and so many other places that are open. And those are kind of the major breakdown of why major companies typically pick areas like that to open up new branches and to invest within the real estate area to offer the items to consumers within that region. For franchises, you are purchasing your own business under the umbrella of a major company that is public already, that offers the option for people to not only invest within it, but to also open up their own branches in areas. The overall design plans for them don't have to be set towards the ideal like main type of like, let's see, vibe that you would see every time you see one of their businesses. If you go to different regions throughout the country, you get to see different versions of major franchises that have been altered to fit that area's either cultural flow, the architectural designs throughout the area, and sometimes they just add a twist to really connect people that are traveling throughout the area to the vibe of the area, to entice consumers of the local area to feel more so at home in the typical franchise that they like love, and to also entice travelers to want to check out this place and to kind of connect to the vibe and culture of the land, which is interesting in itself. Now, for a major facet that we'll focus on for franchises, so we're going to kind of focus on the aspects of items that are offered and what franchise owners typically do to offer these items to consumers. So there are the items such as the McRib that are offered annually, the really cool and adorable toys that are offered for new movie events, new TV shows, new games, and partnerships with the company itself. Then there are the items such as the freaking like adorable Grinch items that were launched last month in December. Now, was popping up on my socials to like literally, I think I was like doing like an update on my page, and I ended up checking out some freaking pretty interesting videos pertaining towards these Grinch items. And I believe my aunt told me about it initially, and then I was like Googling it, and then I popped on social media again, and I saw like this video, and this girl was talking about how the drink featured with the sad, and as you guys know, it was like the major thing was the socks that were added that were Grinch themed, and the fries that came with this dill pickle green in reference towards the Grinch, the pickle salt set to like really add that flavor pop to it, the socks to add the fun to it, and then the drink that was featured was one of the things that threw a lot of people off, because they were like, it's this Grinch thing, like why is the only like major add-on for it the Grinch socks and the pickle salt? Like why is there no special drink for this Grinch meal set? But for different areas throughout the world, as the franchise owners of the region sat and came together to create this meal plan that included different drinks that were green themed. And in the US, we had our franchise owners kind of more so focused towards the product, the add-on, which was the Grinch socks that really added that pop factor, and the pickle salt. Those were the major key points. So a lot of people were like, want that? Like, why didn't we get like a green drink? It would have been freaking awesome. And the girl posted the video reference towards how she got the Coca-Cola drink, I believe. I'm not sure if McDonald's was Coca-Cola or a Pepsi company. I believe they're Coca-Cola based though. And she was like, why was it just like the Coca-Cola? Now, I believe that the Coca-Cola might have just literally just been the ideal drink that was being offered, like through the advertisement. So she probably either picked the Coca-Cola or the cashier forgot to ask her what drink she wanted and then just added the Coca-Cola. And then she was like, I guess you get the drink that's featured in the advertising, but typically you get to pick your own drink. But in that case, she was like given the Coca-Cola, and she was like, why is there no green drink? But that's the difference in the franchises of different regions and the plans they set for the meals. Alright, you guys, this video is coming to a conclusion, so I'll talk 10 more in the next one towards those aspects. Alright, you guys, we are in part 3. Alright, so we're going to be touching base more upon the franchise aspect, and then we'll connect back over to major companies and the major differences in both and the operation standards, and then we'll touch base as towards the expenses of everyday citizens in comparison to the expenses of those with an excess funding, an excess wealth set while going into the franchising process. So, franchises, typically, as stated before, have the meal sets that are set for different regions, and the franchise owners set them for the given regions. So, in places such as the Middle East, that region has a surplus of people that have the cultural diet plans that don't include items such as pork. So, a lot of their menu items feature chicken-based products, and in the US, we have the option for items that feature chicken, pork, and beef added into the menu set. So it's set by the franchise owners coming together to create these meal sets that they offer throughout the region. So if we were to do the exact same thing that is happening in our US branches of McDonald's in regions such as the Middle East, it would kind of more so be as like an offered basis for like tourists that eat those items, and for the locals it would be more so as picking items that would fit their cultural beliefs. So instead of doing that, they created a menu that was more geared towards the people of the area. They wanted more of the locals to feel, connected to the brand that they love, but to also have items that fit their diet standards. So that way they don't go into McDonald's and they're like, I want that item, and then they find out later that that item included something that goes against their cultural diet. So those are the interesting aspects that vary within regions that franchises work to manage and implement. Now, as stated, major companies, they tend to open up their own branches in major areas for consumers. Franchises fall under the parameter of parent companies. You can become a licensed franchise owner, launch your own business, and then in doing so, they are buying a parcel of land, and they are then creating this version of the franchise that is either based off of their vision or one that is based off of the ideal blueprints or vibes of the brand. And then it is up to you to hire the staff, manage everyday aspects, and to create your own version of this major franchise offered throughout. Like in Chicago, we have this really cool McDonald's that's like Hollywood themed, and it has like a bunch of people that have like gone to McDonald's, that have like popped up there throughout the years. Celebrities are featured all throughout, and it's like a Hollywood themed McDonald's, and it's really cool. And I initially went there with my great grandmother when I was a lot younger. We were like at church, and I was like, I think we were like doing like this like weekend event thing. She was like popping in, and I was like, I'm super hungry, Grandma. Like, can we go grab some food? And she was like, yeah, of course. She was like, what do you want to eat? And I was like, I want some McDonald's. And she was like, okay, we're gonna go to the McDonald's down the street. And then we went inside, and then I got to see this like cool McDonald's. But it was like the first time I'd ever seen a McDonald's that was completely different than any that I'd ever seen before, with the Hollywood themed vibe, the pictures everywhere, and it just looked super freaking amazing and different. And later in life, growing up, I noticed that there were like McDonald's that had like the playroom setups, and then the McDonald's that didn't. And then when they started, saying a bunch of McDonald's playrooms were closing, I had already seen like the different McDonald's that didn't actually have the playrooms as a feature there. So I was like, that was a cool difference. So based off of the franchise owners' designs, it was set to either have these playrooms featured, which a lot of us freaking loved as kids. I know I used to love going to my local McDonald's when I lived in California and was growing up as a kid. And we used to freaking go to McDonald's. They used to be like, what do you guys want to do? And we were like, let's go to McDonald's. Like, what do you guys want for lunch? Can we go to McDonald's, please? Because then it's like, you get to freaking go grab some yummy freaking McDonald's food. We got our freaking Happy Meals and our toys, and then we got to freaking play, and we would literally tire our freaking selves out. I remember we went like one time, and I think it was like a new freaking major toy event or so, but the McDonald's was freaking filled. There were like a bunch of freaking people there. There were kids all throughout the playground, and I remember we were like all like playing and going up through like this like little twisty slide within like the like little like netted freaking play. Like you guys remember like the little play tunnels and stuff where you like climb up one side and then you go up to the other side and then you climb up the other side and then you go over to the other side. And it was one of those. Don't mind like the filter glitching, you guys. It's like my no makeup aspect and then the filter with the freaking makeup aspect. I was like, I don't feel like throwing on any makeup for the video. And with it being like my first few weeks like out of freaking bed post freaking procedure, I am literally just in my freaking super zen recovery mode where I'm trying to not over freaking exert myself. I typically like pop up and I'm like, alright, so we're doing this, we're doing that, and then it's like the freaking schedule starts, and I've been like, and just like, I'm going to rest a bit. I had another abscess pop up like last weekish, and I was super freaking worried. It's like still like in the recovery phase, it's like starting to get there, but it's like, it's healing over now, and I'm like, I just don't want to even overstrain myself. I started getting that freaking, remember in the video where I told you guys about like, the post-abscess drainage and the hospital visit, and how I had a feeling it was the same thing, because this thing that happens whenever I have a really bad abscess that starts, sending the infection throughout my body, it causes my breath to like have this really weird like metallic taste and scent to it. And I was like, what's going on? So then a few days ago, when I noticed that there was another abscess forming after the other one had finally started to heal over post-procedure, I was like, I had a feeling it was happening. I started having that taste in my mouth again, and I was like, I felt it like while I was recovering, and it was like working its way out of my system. But I was like, by now it should be freaking gone. Like I can like function. I've freaking been able to like keep, like, get to like my normal zen space, and my breath started to like, seem normal again, and it was like that less metallic taste in my mouth, and then it started up again, and then I was checking in that region, and I was like, what the freaking heck is this? And I think my initial moment when I noticed it, I was like sleeping, so in the midst of me like, turning and doing like my hands between my legs and stuff like that, and like my different sleep positions, I put my hand between my legs, and then I was like, why is there like this pain? And then I woke up in the midst of the night, and then I had gone to the bathroom, and I was like, why am I having this like horrible feeling? So I had to literally like kind of like strip down a bit, and then I was like checking in the region, so like there definitely, it's like that I don't is it draining again? Like, do I have to like check and figure out what the freaking heck that was? And then there was an abscess forming, and I was like super freaking worried. But yeah, that's been my update of me recovering and popping back in to post some new content for you guys. If you guys have checked on my Instagram, you guys can see that some of the videos that have been featured on there while I was recovering, because I was like, I don't want to leave you guys with like no freaking content on there. So when you guys do pop on and like see like if there have been updates and stuff like that, it's not like, my profile was ghosted for like a freaking month while I was freaking going from Christmas and New Year's to like February. I was like, I want to have some content that's posted in there throughout, so it's not like a complete like, where did you go type of vibe for like an entire month, or you just didn't like post any content for a month. So I posted some old videos. I did like videos that were like 30 minutes from my YouTube channel, and I sent them over to my other accounts. That way you guys can check them out. So if you follow our DKH Legal Aid, Fashion Headquarters accounts, my Narcy model account, or my main narcissist account, you guys can go check out all of the updated content from the video that I shot yesterday. These videos will be up there soon, and you can also go check out the videos that I posted while I was recovering, which are beauty vids. And I hope you guys like them, they're super cute. But this one is getting towards the end, you guys, so we'll connect a tad more of the details in the next part, and then likely conclude it with a part 4. Alright, you guys, part 4, and this will be our conclusion for this series part. So, we have touched base upon major corporations or major companies overall, and their launching of additional branches in major areas to contribute towards the consumers that love those products within those areas, or to the areas in which there are a surplus amount of consumers that would likely shop from those companies and franchises. We've also touched base a tad towards the differences, similarities, a bunch of core aspects to kind of like give you guys more insight towards those aspects of business ownership and launching additional branches. In this one, we're going to be covering the expenses of everyday citizens and compared to those with excess wealth amounts while going into launching franchises. So for everyday citizens, as I stated in part 3, I believe I believe it was part 3, where we covered the aspect of everyday citizens who typically will either have funds that they have generated throughout their life that they are putting towards opening a franchise, or the loans that are taken out to establish the business and cover payroll for their employees, and the fund sets are set to be returned through sales of the business to not only maintain the business but also maintain the employees on the payroll and every aspect pertaining towards things such as advertising also. So if you live in areas such as like Chicago or just any major area, you'll notice that for commercials such as like Honda, Chevy, Ford, and a bunch of other local car companies, the dealerships that they are advertising for are your local dealerships. They're not like advertisements for dealerships in general. You're not getting like a generalized ad set that's like, this is Ford. Go to your local Ford dealer and get this car. You're getting, this is Ford. Go to your local Ford dealers at this area. This is their website, and this is their advertisement for your local area. I've stated for franchise owners, they come together to create these ad sets that are generalized, so there's the typical ad set that you're watching, and then there are the portions of it that are directed towards your local areas in which they are advertising for. So if you see like a similar ad for one of the car companies and it's like the exact same ad in another area, the major difference that you may note is the references towards the local dealerships and the websites that are shown in the advertisement, so that you can go and check out and gain more insight and go and figure out where your local dealers are within those regions. And it's like one of those cool aspects where you see it and you're like, wait, what? This is like an advertisement for like the freaking Ford in our freaking like area, and not just a freaking actual advertisement for just Ford itself. So that's one of those cool aspects. For franchise owners that have an excess amount of wealth, they tend to go into the business with external income sources. So on top of having excess amounts of wealth to cover the business in case there are any hiccups in payrolls, they also are able to withstand possible situations such as our recession points where the economy takes a really hard toll. People with excess amounts of wealth are able to bring people back into the workforce. They open up these franchises and it's bringing jobs into the areas. And then on top of that, they're able to withstand funding the employees. So even if there's like a really down month in sales, it tends to pick up within a short time frame to get back to the normalized median point or beyond that, where the revenue is, that return value. And as you are back at that return value, you're able to gain back the excess funding to not only maintain the business itself, but to also put back into your pockets. So for the everyday citizens, the goal is always for the excess funds. You are going for sales that are going above what is required for the business to function. For those who have excess amounts of wealth, they are also going for that same point, which is the typical point for most businesses. And when there are those hiccups where it's at the median point and there's really like that kind of like even point of return, you're kind of like, there are the expenses that fall outside of the business parameters that must be covered, so it has to be brought back to that excess point. And then there's the funding of employees. There are the possible hiccups that could happen where it's like, we're at the median point, everything is covered, and then during the freaking following few months, it's like a freaking bad downfall point where you're like back down here, and it's like if you have employees that have to be paid, inventory that has to be replenished, advertisements that have to be covered, and so many other aspects, they can't be freaking maintained if the funding is not available. So those with excess amounts of wealth are able to withstand a tad better for a decent bit of time. Like for a lot of moments where it gets, too low for too long, franchise owners, even with the excess amounts of wealth, will close down a franchise. For those that have put their life savings into the franchise and have taken out loans, if the hit lasts for too long and the company has to be closed down, the company the company owner will also have to file for bankruptcy. People are laid off from a branch, and it's a major fall point. So the difference in the fall points is the sell value and the sell and filing for bankruptcy aspect. And if you guys have noticed, for a lot of companies throughout our nation, if you follow like news updates on bankruptcies and have seen what's been going on throughout the nation, a lot of companies were affected very greatly by the recession throughout the pandemic. A lot of companies that were making stable sales were at that like median or just above the median point where these sales were coming through to sustain the business. During the pandemic, a lot of them hit the median point where it was like able to sustain the business, but the losses were too great, so a lot of franchise owners had to divest and sell. For those that went below the threshold and were not making enough, they were able to withstand for a decent bit, but they had to cut their losses, close branches, lay people off, and also file for bankruptcy. And for the franchise owners with an excess amount of wealth, they were able to either withstand and maintain operations or sell. So you guys, those are the crucial aspects to compare major companies that open up their own branches to franchises that are under the parent company aspect, and the differences in opening a franchise as an everyday citizen or somebody who is also an everyday citizen that opens and then has the loan aspect added to the funds used to create and operate the business, as opposed to those with excess amounts of wealth that are able to withstand a decent bit longer for different points, that can typically sell and divest from a company without having to file for bankruptcy. Alright, you guys, if you want any other cool, salty videos like this, please comment, send out some freaking ideas and stuff. If you guys want more makeup videos, let me know. As you guys know, I tend to post at least a few throughout the year. So many more other cool freaking snippets. If you guys love my freaking fashion videos, let me know. I can do some shopping hauls and send them out to you guys so you guys get to check out some of my new like shopping freaking haul sites. Go check out my recent shopping hauls like the Chanel haul, my freaking beauty haul that I dropped. I think it's like in 2024 again. You guys, last year was a really busy year coming back from California to Chicago and so much more. Alright, I love you guys. I'm running out of time. I will talk to you guys in the next one. As I stated, we've still got one more bullet point to hit. Love you guys.